Summer here, and welcome to Being on Purpose. Today, I want to talk about, make this like a follow up video to something else I said in another video, and I'll put links to these other videos down in the description. But I said in another video, like, if two different people see the same situation, they can put different labels and judgments on it and make different assumptions about the exact same situation. And I said, there's no right or wrong. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about how we make meaning, right and wrong, and moralistic judgments and value judgments, like different types of judgments we make. And then in another video, I'll get into how that can be useful or not useful. But in this video, I just want to talk about meanings, judgments, rights and wrongs, and kind of like how we filter our world. So with that, let me get into it. Okay, so the first thing is that if we see, so in the other example, I had mentioned if two different people see someone running out of a pharmacy and they stole medicine from the pharmacy, one person could say they're a coward, and one person can say that they are a hero, and that there's no right or wrong. They both could be right. And I mentioned in that video, there's no right or wrong. But first, I want to say we always can improve the accuracy of basically how much data we know about what's going on. So in that example that I gave, the two people, it's assumed that they don't know the person running out of the pharmacy. They don't know what's going on in their life. So they're just kind of left to make meaning and make assumptions, or they could choose not to make any assumptions. But there's always the choice too of opening to learning and getting more accurate and getting more data about what's actually going on. So that's all. In my opinion, many times that's a good idea. I won't say always, but like many times that's a good idea. And it helps us whenever any meanings that we do make of the situation, it helps to have more facts of what actually happened. So opening to learning, that's important. I want to just throw that in at the beginning of the video. Okay, so then now getting into judgments. Whenever I talk about judgments, like it could be moralistic judgments or just any kind of judgments, I mean saying things like a person is friendly, or even saying something like middle-aged, saying something like somebody's weird, or even someone is tall, someone is an idiot. All of these things are judgments, meaning the meaning is made up by us. Like, what's tall to me may not be tall to you. What's weird to me may not be weird to you. Someone that seems like an idiot to me may not seem like an idiot to you, or someone that seems friendly to me may not seem friendly to you. And like I mentioned middle-aged here in the list too, because I just had a conversation today with several people, and we had a whole long discussion about what does middle-aged even mean. Does it start at 30? Does it start at 35? Like, where does middle age start? So there is no absolute right or wrong answer. It's just what do you think it is? And here it's important, like whenever we relate to each other and we use judgments, it's just wise to be aware of the usefulness of them, and then also the limitations that they have. Because I don't even want to go so far to say like it's right or wrong to use judgments, because that again would be my judgment of the situation. So I think it's better in filtering the world in general. There's a lot of limitations to filtering the world in right or wrong, perfect, imperfect, good or bad. But it's much more useful, I think, to filter the world in terms of useful and not useful. That's more useful, at least in my experience. So, and I just wanted to cover this quickly too, like some more judgments that commonly get thrown out are like right and wrong, perfect, imperfect, best, success, good, bad, special, ideal, normal. Normal's a big one, right? Like, oh, that's normal, that's not normal. Well, what is normal anyway? Someone made that up. It's just is their opinion, really. But these are things we throw around as like fact, so when in fact they're really opinion. So, and I even wanted to throw in one more, as it, like, this relates to if you're working with some type of coach or counselor, or really any person that you're working with. They're a paid professional. And I guess I bring this up because I'd like for you to sort of be on the lookout for judgments that they throw out there as fact. And when someone is in that position, we put them in a position of authority over us, like whenever they're a paid professional and we're supposed to be able to trust them to help us, then they tend to throw out their opinions and we take it as fact because we assume that they've had more training and they've had more experience in this area, so therefore what they say goes. And so one that I ran into that I want to throw out there is, like, because these can be kind of tricky, right? I went over common ones, but like this is a unique one. The deepest part of the human experience. Well, what does that even mean? You know, that was thrown out to me as fact. Like, the work with this person was going to go to the deepest part of the human experience. And let me tell you, I latched on to that one. And it's really, what does it even mean? Like, what does it mean to the person who said it to me? What did it mean to me? I bet you it meant two different things. And also, that phrase doesn't, there's no absolute universal meaning that's out there. The meaning is just, what does it mean to me? What does it mean to him? It doesn't have an absolute universal meaning. Okay, so and that's important because, oh, sorry, excuse me. That's important because, again, we tend to give away our power to people that we put in authority over us whenever we hire them, because we assume that their opinion is the right one. We assume that they know what they're talking about, and so they can throw out opinions and they can say things like that. And we're just like, oh, okay, this is a fact. This is what it is. But no, it's their opinion. And sure, they've had training, and so they are supposed, their opinion is supposed to be an educated opinion. So that is worth something. But does it mean that we should give up responsibility for deciding for ourselves? No, it doesn't. Not in my opinion, anyway. Okay, so then the other one I wanted to talk about too is, I was mentioning a little bit about universally true facts. Like with these type of judgments, there is no universally true fact, I guess, with these judges, because it's going to be different whoever you ask. So there is a universal good and bad, and the universal nature of the good and bad is that for each and every individual on the earth, whatever they like is good and whatever they don't like is bad. And that's as universal as it gets. So, but those don't match up. I'm sure probably if you're watching these videos, you've lived long enough to know that these don't match. What's good to me is bad to you. And that's based on a whole system of values and beliefs and ways that we express our individual identities, So there's beauty in the fact that we have different opinions and we have different things that are important to us and different meanings that we give things. And the challenge is in learning to, work with each other and create a world where we all can live relatively happily with each other. So yeah, so good and bad, that's another filter that people use, and like, this is good, that's bad, and they say it like it's true for everyone. And the only thing that's true for everyone is, like I said before, what you like or what you want is good, and what you don't like or what you don't want is bad. And so that's pretty much true for everyone, but those things don't match. To me, vanilla is bad and chocolate is good, but to someone else, it's the opposite, So, now, the last thing that I want to leave off with this video is just to say, now that I've gone through all this, to begin to notice the effects and how much power you can have in the meanings that you make, and the effects that can have on how you relate to yourself and how you relate to other people. So you can see that if one person is if you go out in the world and you view someone and you put a label in your own mind, you don't even have to say it out loud. You put a label in your mind, you see someone, you say they're an idiot or they're irrational. Well, it's very likely that you're going to treat them differently and interact with them differently than if you put the label on them that they're friendly and they're a nice person. And some of these labels can coexist together, right? Like I can have many labels for one person if I want to. So it's just important to recognize the power that we each have over the meanings we give things and any labels we put on people, if any, and we can choose not to, right? That's kind of the how some people teach in spiritual traditions of like not being judgmental. So we can kind of choose what meanings we give things, what labels we give things, and even if we want to give it a label or if we don't want to give it a label, and just try to be in the experience as it exists in the moment. So that's options. But I'm going to put a link in the bottom of this one, because in another video I am going to go over when judgments are useful and when they're not, because I'm not one that believes that we shouldn't ever label anything ever, or we should never make judgments ever. I think that's a big mistake, and I'll go over why in the other video. Okay, so in this video though, I just wanted to leave off on that. And the other last thing I wanted to say too is that whenever we're working with a professional, again, they throw out their judgments and as fact when really it's opinion. And it's important to remember that, especially when we're working with someone like a counselor, a coach, a life coach, a therapist, or even like a hypnotist or a medium or somebody like that, and they're helping us sort of in our life. And if they throw out, especially I think someone who's like a therapist that's licensed, and they throw out words, that's actually how they're trained. They throw out words that are judgments, and they say you're basically diagnosis, right? They say you're this, you're that, you're the other thing. And that can give us a lot of complexes. And we forget that sometimes they can be wrong, and we forget that it's an opinion, and that those words and those meanings were formed by another human brain, which is subject to all the, I guess, inaccuracies that we are, right? So there's nobody who's right 100% of the time. There's nobody who's accurate 100% of the time. So I'm just telling you to use caution, and basically if someone else makes a meaning, we don't have to accept their meaning. We can. I encourage you to think for yourself and to develop your own discernment and learn to accept, filter things and accept your own meanings, and don't just blindly accept the meanings and labels and judgments from professionals, because sometimes, again, they could be off, or they could be wrong, or it could have something to do with their own internal, or maybe their own personal life mess. I mean, we have no idea, right? So it's important to, respect them and, listen to them, but also still keep your filter on, and don't just blindly take in the meaning that they give, because I think whoever's making the meaning in your life really has a lot of power. So I'm just encouraging you that you're the person who makes the meaning in your life, so that you have your own power over your own life, instead of giving that power to someone else. Okay, I'm going to end the video there, and with that, have a great day. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, like, comment, share. Write in the comment sections, what do you think? What are your experiences? And then also just remember, like I said before, think for yourself, develop your own discernment, and remember that you can learn to find and work with professionals who will respect you and who will help you, and they're out there. So find people that are healthy people to work with, and I'm here to support you. And until the next video, see you later.